Hi there, welcome to Cool Talk Talks and the series, The 100 Most Influential People in History as per author Michael Hart. Today we discuss number 4, Buddha. Born in 563 BCE, his original name was Prince Siddhartha, and he founded one of the world's greatest religions, Buddhism. His dad was a king ruling in Kapilavastu in northeast India. Today it's just ruins. At 16, he was married to his cousin, yet didn't have any children until the birth of his son 13 years later. Now, during those 13 years, he and his wife lived in the royal palace, wanting for nothing, living large. Pretty cool, right? But the prince observed how most of the people in India were poor and how we all suffer from want and how even the rich seemed unhappy and that in the end, all of us eventually die. At 29, his wife finally had a son, but he left his baby son and his wife at the palace, and he left home to become a penniless wanderer, observing and seeking the meaning of life. He studied with many holy men, but found their teachings lacking. He tried asceticism, meaning self-mortification and extreme fasting, but this only led him to believe that punishing one's self to that extent only served to cloud his mind, so he resumed eating normally. But one night, sitting under a fig tree, he reflected on life and had a revelation. He was convinced that he had understood life and so became the enlightened one. He had become Buddha. He was now 35 years old. And for the next 45 years, he traveled over northeast India preaching and made thousands of followers. He passed on his teachings to them. They memorized his words and would write them down years later. We can summarize his teachings into what was known as the Four Noble Truths. Number 1, human life is unhappy. Number 2, the cause of this unhappiness is human selfishness and desire. 3, we can bring this selfishness to an end when we eliminate all cravings and desires. And 4, to escape from selfishness, we need to follow the Eightfold Path. Now, after Buddha's death in the year 483 BCE, the religion grew slowly until the 3rd century BC, when Emperor Asoka converted to Buddhism, and through his support, the number of Buddhist followers spread throughout Asia, gaining popularity in Indonesia, Burma, Tibet, China, Korea, and Japan. But ironically, it died down considerably in India by about 500 AD, and it almost vanished completely by the year 1200. Yet Hinduism, which became dominant in India, was heavily influenced by the Buddhist philosophy. Much of the political history of the Buddhist countries is saturated with pacifism, certainly more than Christianity and Islam. Buddhist philosophy has had wide appeal. There are about 500 million Buddhists today. Now, if you compare that to over 2 billion Christians, over 1 billion Muslims, and over 1 billion Hindus, this would appear like that Buddhism is a distant fourth. But this is misleading when we think about influence. Now, Buddha did not create the idea of pacifism, but Buddhism greatly propelled forward that idea. And after monarchies gave way to nation states, the common thread of believing in peace and harmony really caught on. The question now becomes, how much is Buddha responsible for the pacifist movements? It's really impossible to know. But at the very least, Buddha has influenced hundreds of millions of people. And now, for my next video, we're going to go to number 5, Confucius, who lived around the same time as Buddha. In the meantime, send me your comments, send me your likes, or better yet, subscribe. This is Cool Talk Talks.